Segment of the show for today. The topic is the narco states of West Africa, and we're talking to Dr. LMadu2. This is the second show in which we are dealing with the issue of the narco states of West Africa. And of course, Dr. LMadu2, you were talking about the failure of institutions in many of these West African states that are infected by these cartels. Let's pick up at that point.
Yeah, I had articulated, the first 2 points, being more drugs needed in Europe. Second one, being the change of routes, and the third being exactly the third being institutional weaknesses, and by that I mean the governments of these countries are involved, particularly Guinea, Bissau, and Guinea. Lack of law enforcement, lack of legal machinery to deal with these issues, weak policing of the ports and the seas and all that. In short, lack of any kind of governmental, input into controlling, who comes in and goes out. Most of these, countries, these two countries are weak in that respect. So that gives the drug cartels an open, invitation to come in.
Okay.
When, like we talked about Guinea, where the police chief is involved, the anti-drug chief is involved, the intelligence chief is involved, the presidential guard is involved, everybody's involved. So who's going to keep them out? And the Guinea-Bissau, the same. Where the president is involved, the army chief and all that, same. So that's very important to understand, because third is the profit. Fourth is the profit. They make a killing. For example, the UN estimated that the cocaine that will be worth 1.8 billion when it gets to the coast of Africa, in Europe, will fetch over 10 times more than that.
Oh.
You see, yeah, 10 times more than that. You see, so that's very important.
That's a recipe for evil.
Exactly, exactly. Because I used to also talk about labor. Cheap labor. When those drug cartels get their drugs to Bissau, they can pay some of the people $2 an hour, to load those things on the ships. While if they are doing it in Jamaica, you probably cost you thousands of dollars to get somebody to do that. Because some of the people don't even know what they are loading. You know what I mean? Because they're not used to those kind of things. You see. So talk about cost of labor, and that's very important there. You see. So these are some of the factors that I'm sure people will be asking why these places. And then of course the fifth and most important factor is poverty. Like I said before, in Guinea, almost 60% of the people, out of work, are unemployed. In Sierra Leone, almost 70% are unemployed after the civil war. In Equatorial Guinea, the same number, almost unemployed. In Guinea-Bissau, almost 80% unemployed. Don't talk of Liberia. Okay? So you have this endemic poverty that is attractive to this kind of business. Even though, like I emphasized before, the governments of Liberia and Sierra Leone are not involved, but because they've just finished a civil war lasting so many years and infrastructure destroyed, there's temptation of
being involved,
exactly, of the people and the population to get involved. That's the difference between Guinea, Bissau, and Guinea and the other 2 or 3 countries. In Guinea and Guinea-Bissau, the governments are directly involved in it. That's why they, like I said before, the UN designated Guinea-Bissau as the first narco state, while the other 2 or 3 countries, the governments are not involved, but the population, because of the poverty and infrastructural decline in unemployment, are tempted to become part and parcel of it. The police, are subject to be corrupted. When the police is not paid much, they turn a blind eye when these things are coming in. So those things are very critical, to understand. According to the UN report, United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime, from 1999 to 2003, over 600 kilograms of cocaine, you know, we are seized.
That's seized. That's not that they got through.
Not
this
getting
is what
through. Exactly, not getting through. We are seized. You know, In 2005 alone, over 45 tons of cocaine were seized in the west coast of Africa. Yes.
Tons.
Exactly, tons.
Seized. And this
seized.
is what they were able to
get
it removed out
That's
of this.
correct. Now, not what went through. Okay? And since then, since 1999, over 99% of all the drugs seized in Africa came from West Africa, or seized in West Africa.
West Africa.
Okay, yeah, on that coast. So that's a whole
that ought to
lot
say
of,
something.
Yes, that's is a whole lot. And like I said before, in February, you know, a Liberian ship, you know, was also seized, you know, because of carrying, you know, tons of cocaine. So this is what the situation is. So it's very important to understand the magnitude of what is happening on that coast in terms of this is new to Africa.
It is.
Quite frankly, it is new. You know, it is new. That's what makes it very dangerous. And most people don't understand what is happening or what it is, because it's never been in this magnitude. You know, in every society, you have criminal elements, you know, who do all kinds of things.
Okay.
Yeah, but to become a magnet for drug barons is something very unusual for Africans.
And so they are down there in West Africa. There's all over the coast of West Africa.
That's correct.
There's a presence there that you.
That's correct. There are princesses there, and then they are buying up land. Yeah, they're buying up land, building mansions there to stay. And that will cause a whole lot of problems, you know, in as far as governments are concerned. Okay, look at what's happening in our neighbor, Mexico. Yeah, just think about that. With all the Mexican military might, they still can't control the drug barons there.
And
then think about small Guinea-Bissau that has nothing, really, or Guinea. How are they going to control them when they're coming there in force?
And especially when the administration, when the political situation is in favor of, is a cartel, as we've seen time and time again. Of course, Dr. Madu, let us take this second commercial break, and then we'll get back and we'll have an opportunity to sort of wind this up with some other observations later on. And we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.